Oh, say hi, everybody.
Hello.
I put it on the wrong side. Oh, I got it. So God created the world for us to network with each other, to be involved with one another in such a way that we can get tremendous amounts done. I mean, think how many people had to be involved just to build this building here, or anything else for that matter. Everything requires tremendous teamwork, yet all of us kind of go it alone in life because we're so scared of no. We're so scared of no. And no would just crush us. But think of that, like someone saying no to you, we all know how scary that is and like how crushing that is. But you realize what an eggshell you are? What is the big deal that someone said no? Like, it could be like 10 people, 9 are going to say yes, 1's going to say no, and we're scared to death of the one person. And so we just wind up asking none of them. And so we missed all 9. And the person who said no would have said yes. It's just that they're on their way to help their grandmother walk down the stairs or something to get her to the street level. And even that one would have been a yes as well, because we all raised our hands, no, agreeing that it's nice to do things for people. We like that. So, but we're all just so scared that we don't, and you realize that so many of us don't get anywhere. So many of us, we never get anywhere because we're just trying to do things on our own. And you would just be shocked how much people will do for you. Once you realize it's a yes world, everyone say it's a yes world. One more time, it's a yes world.
It's a yes world.
One more time, it's a yes world. It's a yes world. And when you live in a yes world, things get done. Your dreams start to manifest, because it requires a lot of people to get things done. But you got to get rid of your self-image to do that, because it's too scary to get a no when you got self-image in the way. But when you're just going full soul mode without all the self-image, so you just lose the fear of no. And so King David said, "Ani Hashem libo zorai," Hashem's with me, or Hashem is mine. Be'ozorai, with my helpers, because the whole world are my helpers. Because when you realize you're just in the Shema, so the whole world's just there to help you, and you're there to help everyone else. We're all here to work together. It's really amazing. And it also totally erases capitalism versus communism. That whole machlokas, that whole fight, capitalism versus communism, it totally because capitalism versus communism is ultimately, how do we take care of everybody? Capitalism is, well, everyone pays taxes and we take care of everybody through the taxes. How's that going so far in Chicago? And communism is the government takes care of everybody. How'd that go in Russia?
I have no idea.
People are like eating their arms off. Didn't work. But how's a world where you have God awareness? You have God awareness, and you realize that you and everyone you ever met are totally equal. And if he's hungry, you're going to feed him. If you have surplus, it's in order to give. If God granted you with money, it's to make sure you spread it out. You don't need your name on any plaque, because if you put your name on a plaque, everyone's going to come all after you, and then you're going to wind up being stingy just to get your own life back. I know so many people, rich people, are losing on so many tzedakah fronts, so many amazing tzedakah fronts, because they played the big wheeler tzedakah guy, only to have his wife say enough. Like just choose your tzedakahs and that's it. But all you have to do is just keep yourself on the DL. Don't let anyone know where you're giving or what you're giving, and just take care of people all over the world. Like, just go crazy giving tzedakah. You got down low. Keep it on the down low, and then you get to keep your life with your wife and your kids. No one's ringing your doorbell all day, and you can give tons of tzedakah to all kinds of really important causes, as opposed to having to be limited in that way. And anyway, but the point is God is with us, and he's with us. Be'oizerai is in my helpers, because everyone's my helpers. and I'm everyone else's helper. I do like crazy stuff for people all the time, and I love it. I love helping people, and people help me like amazing. Like I have my club, which you should all be in, called the Yom Tov Media Club.com, and I have that club. People are joining that club. You know, people are just signing up on one level or another to be there so that we can help as many people as possible. And and it's really awesome. But the next words are Ve'ani ere b'soinai, I will see my enemy. What does that mean? I will see. Everyone think deep for a second and then raise your hand. What do you think I will see my enemy? Because Art School translated just I'll see my enemy's downfall. It added like that word, like I'll see my enemy, you know, be taken down. You know, King David dealt with a lot of enemies. But what it doesn't say my enemy's downfall. It just says I will see my enemy. What does that mean? What that means is that I will see. Oh, someone want to give it a try? What? See the good in your enemy. That's pretty good. Go even deeper. Yeah.
Of my enemy?
See the what?
Troubles of my enemy?
Maybe go deeper. Yeah.
I will see the Yetzer Hara may be destroyed.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else?
Maybe like I'll see the people that are not really good to me, that they look like they
Oh,
treat
I think she's got it. Go louder.
they treat me like they're good for me, but they're really bad for me. For like,
That's too deep. You got it.
Meaning you'll be able to identify who is the enemy in your life. You know, who are the people around you.
Okay, I got this one. You all said beautifully. You all said beautifully. The what it means is that I'll see Vani Rebbe Soinai. I will see that all these people that I consider my enemies are not my enemies. I made them my enemies. Because once Hashem's really with me, which means I'm really being a soul. Let me put it on the board. It'll be a little clearer. This ought to fix it. So when you have, I've done this a million times in this room, but I'll do it again. When you have something called acceptance. When you have acceptance, so the definition of acceptance is that if you live that person's whole entire life, not you, but you were that person. I don't mean if you with your brain lived their life. I'm saying you were them. Their brain, their sibling order, their community, their family, those parents. If you, not if you, but you know what I mean? If you were that person that you're calling your enemy would be you. I mean, if you're an Iraqi soldier shooting across the Iranian border, the only difference between the two of you were born in different, a couple hundred yards away from each other. Just there was a fence in the middle. That's the only difference between you. So you're basically shooting yourself. You understand? You're shooting yourself there. Because had you lived his whole life, you'd be shooting yourself from the Irani side. So when you get to acceptance, you realize that everybody is just really doing their best, really. I mean, every single one of you has been doing your best. Is anyone here could raise their hand and say they haven't been doing their best? You've all been doing your best, and that may suck, by the way. I mean, your best may suck. But I promise you, looking backwards in retrospect, giving all the factors, which are in the thousands daily, given all the factors, you're doing your best. You're all doing your best. And so is everybody you've ever hated. Everyone you'd call an enemy was doing their best. And if you could have watched their life when they were growing up, if you could have seen a biographical movie about them, and the curtain opens, and there's a little baby there, and everyone's like, and then the kid grows up, and you're watching the kid grow up and go through hell, like their home's like the Holocaust, even though it's in New Jersey, but it's like the Holocaust in there. And then after a while, you're watching the movie, you're eating your popcorn, you're just like, what's gonna be? I love this kid. Like, this kid's gotta break through this. You're gonna sit for 2 hours waiting for the breakthrough. But the problem is, during the movie, the shape of the face as the baby fat starts going away is the face of someone you hate. And you'd say to your friend sitting next to you, I'm leaving. They're like, don't leave. Don't leave. Watch. And you'll realize that everyone you don't like is suffering. They're suffering their own stuff. And you just wound up in harm's way. Because hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. And so whenever someone's hurtful, your job, if you're a Jewish person at least, because we're called Rachmanim B'nai Rachmanim, we are compassionate, who are the children of compassionate people. Your job is to have compassion for someone who's harmful like that. Doesn't mean put yourself in harm's way, but if you've been in harm's way, you got to talk to God about that. Like, how'd you wind up in harm's way? Or how'd you wind up in that family? And the answer sometimes is just, well, it's a reincarnation situation, meaning I'm paying cosmic debt. I had to wind up in this family or in that situation because I've obviously got some leftovers from previous lifetimes. As a hypnosis therapist, I worked in hypnosis now for 22 years. For the last 22 years, I worked in hypnosis, and there were several times where the only thing to do now was to bring them into a past life, like one life before this life, in hypnosis sessions. It's called past life regression therapy. Not a preferable thing. You never want to have to go there. For various reasons I'm not going to bring up right now, but I can tell you I didn't have that many victims of sexual assault, but every single time I had a victim of sexual assault that I brought into a past life was a sexual assaulter. Every time. It was 5 out of 5. Yeah. Now I'm not saying everyone was like that. Just everyone I dealt with was like that. And so we have no idea what we're going through in our lives. But I'll tell you this much, that the King of the Universe is like moving puzzle pieces around and like really good at it. Really, really good at it. Like extreme accuracy and precision. There are no mistakes. There are no mistakes whatsoever. Everything is happening with extreme precision. Everything. Nothing's going on without total control. And you all know that because look how well your life's orchestrated. Look how everything's just completely run. Your life is so orchestrated that it's a crazy miracle that the people around you have free will, because God's orchestrated them around you. So how could they possibly have free will? They were all orchestrated around you. Your people were all orchestrated for you. And yet, but you're also being orchestrated around them. And so they have free will. You have free will. How do we have free will? And we all have total free will. Yet we're all being orchestrated around each other. And all kinds of crazy, perfect things are happening everywhere. Now, of course, that brings up the subject of suffering, like people in abject suffering. I mean, we're still within the century of some of the worst suffering in millennia. And again, that's just a situation where we're never going to understand that. We can't get our heads around that. We'll never understand that. I mean, there are lessons to learn, like be compassionate, be caring, take care of people. Don't be evil like the perpetrators. There's lessons, but to understand it, none of us are on that level to understand. Can I get you to shut off the heat, please? You guys had enough heat in here? It's not even that cold out, really. It's just psychologically cold today. I had a really psychologically cold moment today. I took my 8-year-old boy out to lunch. I surprised him in his Hasidische Cheder in Mea Sharim and took him out to lunch. He was so happy. So I'm freezing in this restaurant. It has these brick walls, and I'm sitting next to a brick wall on this frozen day. And then I finally just touched the wall, the texture of the wall, and it was vinyl. 3D, you could push in the bricks. They were 3D. It was vinyl, and I had been frozen for a half hour straight sitting next to this brick wall that wasn't even cold to the touch. That's why I like to look at the temperature of rainy days, just to see if it's really freezing or it's just that it's raining. My wife, when the wind blows, means it's cold. The wind blows, she just goes... And so all my kids think it's freezing when it's windy. But all the boys, at least the girls, all the boys are like... You know, it's like a summer wind. It's like 80 degrees out, you know. And all the girls are like, oh my gosh. It's just funny. No, it's just like birthright, you know. Singing Kolam Kulo in like this gigantic circle. And hey Adam, what's up, bro? There's this giant circle with the Madruchim are walking around like showing that it's a Gesher Tzarma ode. So cute. You don't have to see it. It's really not interesting. That's like an everyday event at the Kotel. Okay, I'm going to take your question and based on that break. Yeah, what's your question?
So it's a really nice idea that you have to accept that your enemy is really not your enemy, even though they hurt you. But how do you get to that place where you're like, okay, they did something bad to me, I'm gonna let it go? Meaning it's easier said than done.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. You guys want to talk about forgiveness for a minute?
Of yourself and others.
Of yourself and others.
Others.
Sorry about that. So there's a couple ways, a couple tricks. You taking notes? A couple things to know. One thing, we already spoke about see the innocence. That's, by the way, the title of what I just called is called see the innocence. It's got a term, see the innocence. See the innocence means if you saw their background, you'd realize this person's been through their own hell. And you wound up in hell's way later. So that's see the innocence. Another one, which we mentioned a little bit, is that God doesn't make mistakes. Okay, God doesn't make mistakes. If you wound up there, it was not by accident. Okay, that's another one. Another one is just your own self-love, like self-preservation love. Is that, think about it, when you feel those feelings of resentment, it's when you wish someone would die, but you drink the poison. Meaning not. This is more like, you know, in everything that we're motivated towards something, but we're also motivated away from something. You know, like rats move very quickly across a maze when you put cheese on the other side. They move much quicker. But if you put the smell of a cat behind them, you know, at the entrance of the maze, they move like 10 times quicker. Okay? Meaning, if you want to make sure you're motivated in life, first choose a reward that's going to motivate you, but then create the smell of the cat. Get really intensely and deeply clear with get really present to what is life going to look like if you don't succeed here. What's your life going to look like there? That's the smell of the cat. That'll keep you running. That keeps you running real fast. You don't want to look at life like that. So, anyway, so the smell of the cat here is to realize that you're drinking poison every time you think about that person. So maybe it's better you just let it go already. And another beautiful line I heard on this was that when you forgive somebody, and when you forgive somebody, by the way, write down the last one in case I forget. It's called the gift of forgiveness. And remind me if I forget to say what that is. So, is there any water here? Anyway, you don't have to get. You mind finding water? I don't know where you're going to find it. You can even go behind the bar and fill tap water. Just let it run a little bit. So, what was I talking about?
The cat.
Oh no, another the cat. I was not discussing a cat. So, anyway, here's another beautiful line. Listen to this one. You'll love this one. When you forgive somebody, you let them out of jail, only to discover that person was you. When you forgive somebody, when you forgive somebody, you've let someone out of jail, only to discover that someone was you.
What does that mean?
You're the one entrapped in your own.
When you're resentful, you're the one in jail.
Oh, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. The next one's called the gift of forgiveness. Next one is the gift of forgiveness. Oh, and by the way, the last one's called Shredder, in case I forget. Shredder. Yeah, the next one's, you asked the right person, by the way. Anyway, the gift of forgiveness is, anytime you've ever forgiven someone, it's almost always because they asked for it. It wasn't a gift, it was earned. Like someone put their tail between their legs and humbly came up and asked forgiveness. If it wasn't humble, you probably didn't really forgive them. But if someone really like humbled themselves and paid that price and asked you for forgiveness, you forgave them because you sensed like this person's really there. Like they paid something for this forgiveness. They put something in. The gift of forgiveness is when you realize this person's never going to ask. And you're just drinking the poison. This person probably doesn't even know your name anymore. This person doesn't even remember you as some lame Rabbi you had when you were a kid or some evil principal or something. And so they don't even know who you are. You're the one poisoning yourself. This person's long gone. They're certainly not asking for forgiveness. Or even if they're in your life and they're not asking for forgiveness, just give the gift of forgiveness. The gift of forgiveness is a gift. It's where I'm gifting them a forgiveness, even though they didn't do any of their work. They didn't come humbly with their tail between their legs to ask forgiveness. I'm just gifting them that forgiveness. That's the gift of forgiveness. Okay? And the next one is the shredder. I'll take 2 cups, please. I'm feeling a little dehydrated. Thank you so much, brother. Saved my life. Oh, that's for me? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nהיה b'dvaro. Can I get a little refill, please?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Can you imagine being so spiritual that you forget to eat or drink? I missed 5 meals in a row. I missed 5 meals in a row this week. I mean, I'm really like, my wife's ready to kill me. She's ready to kill me. I mean, my wife's a Jewish woman. Did you know my wife's Jewish? So she's this Jewish woman who's like, food is love, food is life, food is everything. And she's married to this like leaf in the wind. And she can look at my face and know if I ate. And what happened, she kept getting me to promise to eat. And so I was riding home and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go to the Village Green and I'm gonna eat something. And then like a block from the Village Green, I get a phone call. Like someone needed some help. And so I just kept riding, like, I just rode home. And I rode home and hung out at home for a little while and then had to leave and run a seminar for 4.5 hours. And I don't eat late at night, so that meant next morning, but I also don't eat breakfast. And so I got to 5 meals straight. Whoa. So I'm being a really good boy. Today, I already had a hamburger. And I don't even like meat. I'm just trying to be I was like chewing on it. I was like, I was trying to like, not like shoot it all over my son. I ate a burger.
Was it your first burger ever?
Not ever, but it's been quite some time since I've had a burger. And I can't say I enjoyed it. If you stop eating burgers, you can't even look at them anymore. Yeah, the burgers are like a brainwash from America or something. Who knows what's in those things? You can like see the mark where the jockey hit it. That was bad? Okay, you like that? Okay, so anyway. The shredder, thank you. The shredder is that, have you guys noticed that it's really hard to gather the past? Like someone showed me yesterday, can you show me yesterday, please? Take a little of yesterday. Would you like to show me 2 days ago? Would you like to show me last week? Can someone show me, can you show me an hour ago, please? Can I have 5 minutes, please? 5 minutes ago? Can you show me that? How about a minute ago? Would you show me half a minute ago? Would someone show me a second ago? Can someone show me, like with all of our technology, I mean, we got a lot of tech. Can someone show me a half a second ago? How about a quarter second ago? How about an eighth of a second ago? That's the shredder. Is all present is going through a shredder. Here in the future, it's a blank document, stack of paper. Here's a printer, right? That's now, it's printing. This is the inkjet where we are right now. That's a printer with just blank paper. And it's every moment's going out of shredder. But you know what you've been doing in your life all these years? Well, let me put it like this. You ever seen in wealthy communities where people walk their dogs? Wealthy people have a lot of dogs usually, or they have little kids, more dogs, or at least a dog, one dog. So anyway, they walk with a, it's like a spatula. It's like a, what do you call a kafashba? Dustpan. It's like a dustpan with a stick. It's called a pooper scooper. So you know what you've been doing all your life? You've been taking your pooper scooper, you've been digging it into the past and flinging it all over the blank paper. And that's what's been feeding your present. You've had your past like totally mixed into your future. And what that really means is, you know what your problem is? Your problem is that your future's been full. You know what it's full of? It's full of the past. And you keep thinking if you do this, you do that, if you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you do this, do that, somehow it's going to get better. But when you just do, and do, all you get is doo-doo everywhere. You have to release. You got to release the past. You got to release the past. And when you do clean. You're cleanly doing. You're like doing things into the future from a very clean place, not just like 1 foot on the gas pedal and 1 foot on the brakes, which is how you probably do most things, because you're just so scared of like what could possibly happen in the next future moments that would match some horrible difficulty I had when I was a kid. Like how can I possibly avoid more heartbreak in my life from more failures or rejections or anything? So you're just like. So you do a ton, but none of it's effective doing because you've got your foot on the brakes the whole time trying to protect yourself from matching the past. In other words, you just got the past wrapped up in your future. You ever try to read a document that's already been written on, like you accidentally printed on a pre-printed on document? It's not so legible. Our lives aren't so legible often because our past has been mixed up with the future. Now, the acceptance, when you accept somebody, it leads to feelings of love. Who do you love? You love anyone who accepts you. That's who you love, which is really sad, by the way. It's really sad because who you're really loving is yourself. You don't even love them. You just love people who hold of you. You love people who make you feel significant, which means you don't love them, you love yourself. Which is why it's so important to love yourself. Like, whatever you got to do to love yourself, you better get it done before you choose someone to marry. Because otherwise you're just marrying yourself. And if you ever do love yourself someday, who says you're going to still love them? Meaning, when you're finally going to choose someone to live the rest of your life with, make sure it's the person you're choosing, not just how you feel about yourself when you're with them. Like, they make you look good at parties or something, or they make you feel smart, or some other stupid thing.
How do you know
When you've finally loved yourself?
yourself?
Let's work on ourselves. Don't worry about others. Let's first love ourselves, and then we can talk about loving other people. That's why do you think the Torah says so succinctly, so awesome? No one even gets the line, but now you'll all get it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Meaning, only in as much as you love yourself could you ever love another person. Because otherwise, in as much as you don't love yourself, you're filling those gaps by using people. Torah is like always nails the words right away. Like, love your neighbor as yourself. Again, only in as much as you love yourself can you love your neighbor. That's your capacity. It's telling you the actual capacity of love will be based on how much you love yourself. And so this should be freaking out a lot of you because you've been dreaming all this time that someone's going to come fill your gap. Someone's going to somehow fill this hole in your heart. Well, guess what? It doesn't work. And it's not really fair either, because you're going to make some man or some woman miserable because you're going to make it so damn clear that they're not doing the job. Because it's an impossible job, but you're so dead set on them doing it that you'll just give them 30 years of hell until maybe someday you'll get over yourself and realize that you're the one you got to love. And then you can actually maybe see somebody. Because I'm going to ask you another question. Who do you hate? We asked who do you love. That's whoever accepts you. Who do you hate? Well, it's an easy diuk. Whoever doesn't accept you. Think about it. Everyone you don't like, I know based on how many years you've known them is how many reasons you put on your hate list about them. You know, like, let's say you've known the guy for 5 years, or you've known the gal for 5 years, so you'll have like a nice list, like 100 items. Because you get to know them, because everything, little thing they do, everything they do is like witchcraft. Every little thing they do is witchcraft. Yeah, it's like they're just pointed ears with fangs, these people. And the longer you know them, the more you hate them. But if you really were honest, you'd go back and back and back to the very beginning, is that you felt at one point or another that they didn't accept you for who you were. And they may have never spoken to you. It's just that the guy's so damn smart that I feel like an idiot around him. And then I had to spend my next 5 years learning in yeshiva with him. And so I just destroyed him in my heart. Only to find out later, and this happened to me, this very story happened to me. Hated this guy. And 5 years later, I get called into Aisha Torah like one of the managing staff members into a meeting. And he says, we've got a promotion for you. And I said, that's amazing. Whose idea was that? He said, it was Jim's idea. I'm skipping his Hebrew name. It was Jim's idea. I'm saying, Jim's? Yeah, is there something wrong with that? And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll take that promotion. Thank you. And I run out the door. I run to the base midrash. I grabbed Jim by the shirt collar and said, like, what the hell, man? You hate me. I hate you. I thought you hate me. Why'd you suggest me for a promotion? He says, you're the best guy for the job. I said, well, how come you never say hi? How come you never say good Shabbos? How come you never look at me? You like I walk in a room, you put your head down. And Jim says, again, Jim's 1,600 on his SATs. He's cum laude Harvard mathematician. Jim says to me, Yom Tov, you made more friends when you came to Aisha Torah in 6 minutes than I made in 6 months. I feel like a nerd when you're around. Now tell me, what do you think I did with my 100-item list of 5 years gathering every reason why Jim's a jerk? What do you think I did with that list? How fast does that list go poof? Poof. It's gone. Hashem li ba'ozerai. Here's my helper, Jim. Hashem li ba'ozerai. All of a sudden, Jim's my helper. Va'ani ereh, and I will see my enemy. Ani ereh b'soinai. I realize that my enemy's not my enemy. I'm my enemy. And Jim didn't serve to boost my ego in some way or another and make me feel accepted and significant. And so I just wiped him out of my list of, I put him on that list. So that's how important acceptance is. And once you get that definition that had I lived that person's life, that would be me. You can accept absolutely everyone. Unless they're Amalek. Shalom, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Oh, wait, guys. I keep forgetting this rabbi feeds a family every Shabbos, and whatever we give is what that family eats. This rabbi here, the black hat, he goes and brings amazing, amazing stuff. If it folds, it creates like fish and meat. And if it jingles, it creates like Pringles. But you can buy, if it's just change, you'll get drinks for them. If it folds, you can actually feed them with meat. And you'll feel so much better sitting at a Shabbos table knowing you helped feed a family on the Shabbos. Thank you. Hey, someone sent a note saying, thank you for the truth, Rabbi. Tamuna. Cool name. Yeah. Andrew Schiff, what's up, bro? How you doing, Andrew? Hi, Oily. Wow, I didn't know I could say hi to Oily. Heshi, what's up? Javi. Reva. What's up? Yeah, hi, Simon.